is my 1 month post-op update. This is exactly 4 weeks after my ACL reconstruction and meniscus surgery. If you're curious about my injury, I already have a video explaining, and then I also already have a video showing my whole first week after surgery, so I'm not going to really be talking too much about that. So I'm just going to try to give a brief overview of the last few weeks, and then I'll explain where I'm at now and where I'm needing to go in the next few weeks. So at the end of 1 week, I was at 25 degrees extension, and then after they worked on it, I was down to 15, and I was at 90 degrees flexion. At that point, I was still on crutches. I hadn't really put any weight on my knee, and I was just starting physical therapy. The whole first session was just working on getting it straighter. So at that time, I was given the instruction to really push to get it as straight as possible. So that was my focus over the last few weeks. At about a week and a half, I went down to one crutch, and I was working on walking in physical therapy, but I was using one crutch in my daily life. At that point, I started doing more like marching in place, shifting my weight, mini squats. I was starting to add in a little bit of strengthening. During that week, I was down to 10 degrees for extension and still around 90-95 for flexion. Then the following week, I started to continue to add more strengthening, so I started to do some leg presses, some deeper squats, more of the marching across like a ladder, and adding weights to some of my exercises, some ankle weights to some of my exercises. Then the following week, I was down to 5 degrees for extension and about 100 degrees for flexion. They wanted me to start pushing a little bit more on the bike to try to get around, and I was still struggling with that. Like I said, I was just slowly increasing my strengthening exercises. And then that leads to this past week where I was at 2 degrees for extension and 105 for flexion. And continuing to add strengthening and do a little bit more of it as well. Yesterday I had my appointment with my surgeon, and she felt that my knee was stiff and really wanted me to work to pushing flexion. I was a little bit frustrated because she kind of told me to not worry about that before and to worry about getting it straight. So that's what I had been doing these last few weeks, and then she came back and told me it was too tight and I needed to work on the flexion. So I was a little bit frustrated with the directions I was given, and then also she wanted me to start mobilizing the kneecap with my hands, which my physical therapist had just shown me to do as well. So over this past week and where I am right now, I was just cleared to submerge my knee, so I started doing some work in the pool today. I did a lot of my motion stuff just in the water. I'm going to start incorporating that into my workouts, doing kind of every other day. One day in the gym and more upper body strengthening, and then the next day I'll do the pool stuff. So that's my plan for that moving forward. I'm still going to be doing physical therapy twice a week. I can walk without crutches now, however, I do have a limp, and I'm still working on getting my full gait back, and some of that will come back with range of motion. I started massaging my knee and my scars, as well as trying to mobilize the kneecap, so I'm going to continue doing that. I'm still icing fairly frequently, probably at least 4 times a day, definitely before I go to sleep and right when I wake up, because when I wake up, my knee is definitely really stiff. I was having a lot of trouble sleeping in the last few weeks. It's a little bit better now, but I don't get like the best quality of sleep. What I'm doing is sleeping on my side, because I'm normally a side sleeper, with a pillow in between my knees. The biggest things in the upcoming week are going to be to really push the flexion, continue to work on the extension, continue to do the strengthening as I'm provided, and really try to get some of that scar tissue broken down with my massage and kind of rubbing the scars. So I'm going to have videos showing exercises that I like to do for extension, for flexion, and how I massage my knee and mobilize my kneecap. So if you're interested in those things or curious, then just stay tuned for those. Otherwise, I will be updating again probably at 2 months. So thank you guys for watching, and just subscribe to follow along with my recovery.